That's right, people. It's Douglas Sam Dishay for another episode of the Mic Drop Club. Today, I'm inspired to give you guys a talk, a discussion in and around the great Sir or Captain Sir Thomas More, who was a popular captain in the British Army. This is the guy that in his 100th year of living raised over 35 million for the NHS. This is the guy in the middle of the pandemic, when the pandemic first hit, decided to walk 1,000 times around his garden to raise not only awareness but raise money for the NHS that were struggling to support citizens in and around the pandemic, as all around the world everybody was struggling to get to grips and understand what was happening. So in April of last year, he went on this quest, aged 99 years of age. He used his Zimmer frame, he used the support, friends, family, colleagues for this charity endeavor. This is a guy that put himself out there. This is a guy that basically challenged all sorts of stereotypes in terms of what can you do and achieve when you reach a certain age. This is a guy that made me really revisit what we mean by superheroes or superheroines. What do we mean by that? This is a guy that upheld values, principles to his very last breath. That was all about duty. That was all concerned about looking out for each other. So I'm honored, to be honest, and I'm very, very humbled that I have with me to share this discussion, Jonas Freud. Welcome back to the Mic Drop Club. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. And
Fantastic.
I'm looking forward for this talk again.
Brilliant. We've got a bit of slight delay in the sound getting. Jonas is coming all the way from Sweden. If you cannot recognize the accent, he's coming from Sweden. So, how was Captain Tom, Sir Captain Tom Moore viewed in Sweden? Did you hear a lot about his endeavors?
Yeah, I have heard about him a few times, but the most impressive that I remember about him is that he is a really accountability man. But he's been serving the Navy, I think, in Great Britain, and that for me personally is like a man, a human being that actually living life and makes it boom, like you says.
That's right. Most definitely. And you know what? We should have done this right at the beginning. You know, the Mic Drop Club, we salute the great Captain Sir Thomas More. Here you go.
Okay, guys, everybody ready?
Atomic Mic Drop.
There you go. That's for you, the one and only, the great Captain Sir Thomas More. Okay? He did his thing. And I was moved. I was really, really moved when I was hearing the comments back from celebrities that I've worked with him, from Michael Bohr, sending out these very positive messages in terms of how he was an inspiration to the whole nation, and I think the whole world. I come from a continent where we celebrate old age, the wise man, the wisdom, the elders, all of this type philosophy. And I'm thinking to myself, how much of that is lost, in modern day society, who are quick to talk about doing things online, either tweeting, TikToking, Instagramming, Facebooking, whatever it is. I'm not seeing a lot of attention, a lot of activities from the older generation. Are you on the same wavelength for me when we're talking about that? What do you think?
I think one key is what you talking about, but I mean, I also think it's like a lot of like old people, they becoming old because they use their body more than a general human, like mid 40, like me, myself, my friends. But we're not using our body as much as it's supposed to use, and when you don't use it, you lose it. So
Yes.
I think the old people, and I think without knowing Captain Sir Tom Moore, I think he just did the physical movement, and I think he was like walking around with his wheelchair, even with that every day. So I think the activities going down in the world, and the old people who is still ongoing, I can see that the old people who can adopt the new technology with TikTok and that, they become more healthy and lively. I think that's my feelings about the old people nowadays.
Absolutely. I think in terms of engagement, when any groups of people feel engaged with society, you can then see what they can bring and contribute to society. With this endeavor by Captain Sir Tom Moore was a great feat. And there were other people, countless other people raising money. But in terms of the impact, the gravitas, the impact that this one individual made, made far outshone the physical age that he was presented with. His 99th year, he's going on this endeavor. And I just want to share with you my thoughts around how we compare like for like. I remember growing up, we had a great cricketer by the name of Ian Botham, and he walked all around the country. It's a great endeavor, but he'd done it when he was still in his peak years of life. He can walk around the British Isles, raising money. Great guy. I think he was knighted for that. This is somebody that has fought in World War II. He only got knighted and recognized after this endeavor, which is shocking in my regards, but I'll leave that there. But I just want to say, when we are seeing people engage in society, that will bring to the table creativity, wisdom, knowledge, experience, that other people might not be able to connect and do as well. And that's what this guy did. He went on this quest, and it was a beautiful journey to watch. I know I was counting the steps with him, watching BBC News in the morning. I said, come on, you have to do it. You have to do it. Because sometimes we look at ourselves and think we got no energy. We got apathy. We feel lazy, particularly around pandemic. Most people have gained a couple of pounds. Some more pounds than others, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And the perception is, I know for a lot of people aging, it is, I don't want to go into a nursing home. Because if I go into a nursing home, I'm going to be stuck in that chair and I just got to wither away. I will not be able to contribute. And
yeah, exactly. And as you said, contribute and not controlling what other things and let you do when you get old. And if you can't walk, they just let you sit down in the chair and not to be active. But if I can prevent that, to be active, do my job for myself and be accountability for myself, I think that makes it better for me in the future. And hopefully my workout will be a benefit for me in the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there is a fear. It's a common fear amongst many, the fear of getting old. You know, I was taught about, I think, was it the 3 demons? 3 or 4 demons. The first demon is the fear of, just fear. Just fear itself. A lot of people don't achieve their goals. If I frame it correctly, most people don't achieve their goals in life because they can't get over the first hurdle, which is fear. You know, but when you get over this demon of fear, you get visited by another challenge in your life because you have what's called clarity. When fear is gone, you see things clearly. Yeah. And then with clarity, when people see life with clarity, normally they assume very powerful positions because they do not get distracted by noise. They know what things are for what they are. So they normally reach positions of power and authority, people who overcome their fears, have clarity, and they assume power. But then the last demon that we all must face is the fear of death itself, the fear of getting old and dying. And I think, as you were talking earlier about what can we do in the run-up as we're aging, as we're speaking, we're aging, as we're breathing, we're aging. You know, not to prepare ourselves, to prepare ourselves, yes, it's the right thing to say, but also to keep ourselves young and youthful as we old.
Yeah, and about just, I personally don't fear to get old. I fear the people who will take care of me when I'm not able to eat by myself or walk by myself. That's what I'm afraid of. That's my fear. So actually, I'm preparing, like I will have my private nurse that know me, like we talked about before. So I can control that. I hired my own nurse who knows me and give me the best. That's what I fear about, to get to a public hospital that don't really care about me. But anyhow, you talked about the question again.
Now, I was talking about the fear of getting old in general, and I was talking about the attempt that as we are youthful, we get visited by these type of metaphorical demons where we must overcome.
The youthful. Yeah, you know, like I told you before, when it started to snow here in Sweden, we have like 1 centimeter of snow. I just ran outside and did the snow angels in that 1 centimeter snow, just to be playful and just do what I did when I was young to keep me young.
Yeah.
And I mean, my kids looked at me as a crazy old dad. But I mean, I feel really great when I do that young stuff that I don't really understand that people stop doing, because it gives you more than it takes.
Yes. And there's something in there about being playful. You start off playful, you should end playful. And it's a beautiful thing. And culturally, and I know nowadays through countries becoming more developed, we're losing a lot of that pride in looking after our older generation. You know, a society is judged based upon how it treats the elderly and the young, you know, and those who can't look after themselves. So I think as a society, if people are scared to go into a nursing home, it's evidenced by the fact that that society has turned its back on its principles, its value system in terms of understanding and appreciating that older people comes wisdom. There's so much data out there, but nobody's wise. There's so much information out there, but people are still stupid. You know, these people like Captain Sir Tom Moore, they've lived through situations. They are cut from a different cloth. They have seen the worst of humanity. This is a guy that's fought in World War II. We have people now, including myself, but I grew up my early years in Rhodesia, which was a war-torn country at the time, so going through war. So I understand what war does. But a lot of people don't understand war. Not a world war. This is a guy that's overcome that. And around the world, particularly in the UK, we had Brexit. Whether or not you are for Brexit or not is irrelevant. But people like that who are older, can tell you why things are the way they are, because things have a habit of going around and coming back on themselves. And old people have this twinkle in the eye when you speak to them. I used to work in a care home when I first got into healthcare. For the first few years, I used to work in an older people's care home, working with people that were early onset dementia and having physical health problems as well. So I spent a lot of time with older people. And you can watch a twinkle in the eye when you sit down and you talk to them and say, this guy has fire. This woman, she has fire in her still. And it's a tragedy when you go to care homes and now you see that fire extinguished, not because of the individual themselves, but because of the lack of engagement within the care home, the lack of stimulation, the lack of respect that society has now put on its older generation. When if they could just give us a few words, can save 30, 40 years of heartache, because that older person will tell you what it's like. Your decision you're going to make today is going to affect you like this. We've lived through it. This is what it's going to look like. That's the twinkle in the eye that we lose anytime we do not acknowledge wisdom. Information is not wisdom. It's not wisdom.
No.
It's just information.
No, exactly. And I mean, just what you're speaking about is like I love to hang out with older people. I have like 10, 15 people who is like plus 40, plus 70. Sorry,
No.
I am plus 40. They are and I learn from them. And it's the same for my kids. Like, I really encourage them to hang out with older people, not like me, more like grandfather, grandmother, and so on. And the old people who has the experience about that, so that's you talking about. So I really still, again, the easiest way, like if you don't use it or you don't hear it, you forget it. So I really encourage young people to get like mentoring older people. But when I talk to a 20-year-old kid who's like, no, I'm the best.
Yeah.
I don't need to listen to this plus 70. He's old. Yeah, but he is old. And he got something that you don't got yet.
Yes.
So I really encourage on that one to have that dynamic relationship with people. And like you said, people with different perspectives. So your mind is growing and your life is more blooming as a flower.
Yeah, I think so. And in terms of the wisdom, and we talk about the information, the difference in information and the wisdom is they're just in their autumn years in their lives where they might not have the physical energy to make best use of it in a physical way. That knowledge that they've accumulated, that's turned to wisdom, because now the body is starting to show natural signs of decay and aging. That's fine, but then they can speak it. And those who can't speak it, they can write it down. And those who can't write it down, they can just share it just by observing and you being around them. You get indication. So I'm a firm believer of really taking the best care you can give this to the babies and to the older people generation. You really need to take a look at that. I also want to talk about this whole concept of what you can do in life. There's too much watching other people. I think if you take a look at, say, there's too much comparison. Yeah. If you take a look at a 4x4 100-meter race, running around the track. The track is it's like almost oval shape, and they're different lanes. And those lanes, when you start off in a 4x4 100-meter race, you don't start on the same line. You start staggered, isn't it? From the inside lane all the way to the outer lane, you're staggered. And only when you really see the final 100 meters does all the lines come together. The perception is somebody is behind, and you're thinking, oh yeah, fine, that person's actually in front. There's a psychology there. So this whole comparison in the ages is also a problem, I believe. I think we should not compare. People have different times to flourish, as you say, bloom. If you're a flower, you blossom at different ages. Obama was president probably 20 years younger of age than Donald Trump was. He reached that age 20 years younger. I can't remember the age, but there was a difference. Everybody has a different time frame in order for them to achieve their biggest, brightest, boldest goals. Everybody has their own time frame. And Captain Tom Moore, in his 100th year, or 99th year, done 100 laps around his garden, raised over 32 million. He's going to raise a lot more. Even got a book. He even authored a book. And you'll love the title of his book. The title of the book is Tomorrow Will Be a Good Day. This is hope inspiring. There's too much depression on this planet because people cannot see tomorrow when you're depressed. Somebody of that age has left a book to help you if you're feeling low, to have hope for tomorrow. And if you see or care for anybody with depression, hope is gone from their lives. But there's somebody for 100 years of wisdom telling you tomorrow will be a good day. You better listen to that, because you might be in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Somebody for 100 years worth of life is telling you this. So buy the book. If you need it, buy a book, just read it, promote it. These are the things that I find enriching when we stop comparing ourselves to somebody else. When you're young, you say, look, my friends are all doing GCSEs, A-levels, degrees at the same time. So you're benchmarking against people who are physically the same age as you. But this is not what it's about. We all have our own race to race, and we all shall blossom at different times. And what a beautiful sight it was to see Sir Tom Moore blossom in that way.
I believe that it would be a lovely man to meet and follow life. And I mean, I have some of the people around here in Sweden that I met who's been old. I mean, actually, like one of the oldest blogger started at my mom's adult school as a 95-year-old lady who started a computer class. And then she got hooked and she started blogging as a 95-year-old. But she could blog about things people never heard about.
Yeah.
Unique on that one. And she was blogging, I think she is 105 now, and she's still blogging, and she is a really power woman about that. And I hope really to find the passion, because she'd been at home for so long time, and she just bumped into that computer class. And I think it was her daughter who encouraged her, we need to keep in contact by email and so on, so you need a computer class. But on that way she stopped blogging, and she's doing it still I think she's 105 now.
Beautiful.
So I've been blogging for 10 years, and it's really cool.
It's beautiful. And I
But
think there's
she's
something about,
really interesting to talk to, because I had a chance to talk to her as well. It's
Yeah.
like because I'm in her life.
yeah, the stories. The stories. Sorry, I interrupted you there. Imagine the amount of stories that somebody of that age can tell you. You know.
Yeah.
And I find it again a beautiful tale. Somebody learning to blog. To be honest, I've written about 4 blogs in my life. This is somebody else.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I've been always loving stories. I've been at the fire camps around the world to listen to the old people who is like sharing storytelling every night. And that's stories that I can't read in school. I can't read it because this is like the native people who's living in the woods and so on, in the jungle. But I have the pleasure to actually sit down and listen and hang out with them for 1 week, or actually 1 month or 3 months. So I'm really grateful to just have been with them, because I can't buy the books. I can't buy the experience again.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about that, and I encourage like all people I meet that actually, just if they try the comfort zone and do an adventure about the native people, because they have so much to share, because that have been sharing in the all ages. So I'll be like, natives is the book of life.
Yeah, that's the real roots. That's getting back to as close as you can to your roots. We do that a lot in Zimbabwe, where I'm from. We like to go to our ancestral homes, although we might live or work in the city. Every holidays, it's normally a ritual. You go back to what we call Kumusha, means your ancestral home. You go there, and that's where you spend your time. And that reconnection allows you to remain grounded. We talked about the blogging, somebody 100 years blogging, learning a new skill. That is also good to keep yourself fresh and revitalized. I'm trying to pick up my old bass guitar and pick up where I left off on that. Just keep myself fresh. And this is what it's about. Reading new materials gives you a different insight to things and learning. Some people were saying Sir Tom Moore, should have a memorial for him, a dedicated day, and all of these things. I'm all for that. I 100% salute that. I don't believe history should be consigned to things that only happened way, way in the past. There are people right now who are making history right now. There are saints among us right now. We don't have to wait for Vatican to go through 200-300 years of debating whether or not somebody has done great deeds. We can see that. We celebrate the great deeds in the moment. In the moment. As far as I would concerned, is anyone that has fought in World War II for the country should have been knighted anyway. And every single year we have memorial services for these great men. And you're seeing, and women from different countries, different colors, complexions, different experiences, all played their part. And we have people saying, should I wear the poppy or should I not wear the poppy to commemorate? I think you should wear the poppy, 100%. You should do that, have some respect. Okay, you might not agree with what they were doing and the situation at that time, but this is about service. And I think if we as a nation and as a group of people start focusing more on adding a service, being of service to each other, to our community, to our wider community, to our country, that's only going to be a good thing. And that's the cloth that Captain Tom comes from. Giving back, serving, not asking what the country can do for you. What can you do yourself? He got up. Yes, he had mechanical aid, which is fine. He had a mechanical aid to help him, walk around those 1,000 steps. And all of us, given the right aid, can do great things. You're an aid for somebody that has all their faculties in their peak of their life might not be a Zimmer frame, might not be a wheelchair. It could be somebody just coaching them, a mentor, and then with that boost, they can go on and do great things. So what I'm saying is we have to remain young and keen to learn new things, dispel and break things that were just taught to us just because we were growing up, circumstantial information. I think as we grow conscious and aware, now I seek knowledge opposed to being the recipient of information because I happen to go to school or I happen to go to university, someone's talking to me. Now when Google is such a wonderful thing, you can decide to go wherever you want. Yes, you need to vet your sources, and all that kind of stuff, vet your sources, but it enables you to learn things that you could never learn in any other environment. You would have to go to library, you want the book, you have to wait for the book if the book's been taken out, or you feel like me, I would hoard books. I was one of those ones. Yeah. Library books, I never getting them back.
No, but I mean, I agree with you too. I think if you stop learning, if you stop be curious, and you stop to develop, I mean, I think that's the key to grow old, to be old, and be vital as old as well. To do that stuff that's actually is not the rocket science, that that the body loves to be playful and creative and just experience it. And I think for myself, I mean, I want to experience so much that is possible during my life, and I'm not so much into read books. I am rather sitting down and listen to a person who story tells me from a book or the life. But the most thing is to just want to learn new things. I mean, here in Sweden, we talked about a lot of people are afraid of failure. But translated in Swedish to English is like fear of missing out to succeed. But if you don't use that word like failure, and you use I haven't learned it yet, it makes a lot of difference when I coach people, like just to change the words. Instead of failure, I just use I haven't learned it yet. And then makes it much easier to just succeed, to learn, because nothing is impossible until it's done.
Absolutely. And every time I hear that quote, I do get shivers, because when you say to some people who are doubting Thomases, who doubt the wisdom in that thing, you ask them, if you go back 150 years, mankind didn't know anything about flying. Had no understanding of flying. Within 30 years of the Wright brothers taking flight, we had almost like we were fighting wars in the skies, and then probably 30, 40 years after that, we're now sending people to the moon out of the stratosphere. So there are people who are not that old, who are experiencing technology that when they were born or when they were younger could never fathom what we're doing right now. With this conversation, as long as we post it online, which we will do, makes us omnipresent. We are everywhere at the same time, literally simultaneously. Speed of light, pushes out all this data. We're everywhere. As long as you upload and it's off the server, everyone gets it. From Sweden to UK to Africa to US, they're all at the same time connecting. That's a beautiful thing. If somebody spoke about that, they probably would have been burnt at the stake if it was 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Witchcraft.
Yeah. yeah, exactly.
That's what they'll say. It's not possible. But if you go back even before that, go back hundreds of years, even maybe thousands of years, you had the indigenous Indians sending smoke signals to communicate village to village, over hundreds of miles, smoke signals.
Yeah.
There's so much great things, there's so much wisdom that we can harness from older people. And bless Captain Sir Thomas More, because where he's going, and he was a great believer in knowledge, reading, he is going to be a student. And that was the analogy of the story. I think maybe you told me about it, or I heard it from somebody that was in martial arts, and this story around a martial artist who reached the zenith of his station. He became a Dan. What's the highest grade you can get? Black belt. So he was
10th Dan.
Yeah, it's one of these 10th Dan. He's got his own dojo. He teaches everybody. So he had students, and on his deathbed, he had his students around him, and they put on his special garment, the black belt and everything. And he told his students to take off the black belt, take it off. And they were like, no, master, look, you're this, you're the master, you know everything about martial arts, we want to leave you with the black belt on. He said, no, take off the black belt, put on the white belt. And the student said, why? Why the white belt? That's for beginners. He said, where I'm going to be a beginner. And that, to me, is another story that really makes you realize for every level you go to in life, even when the physical leaves the spiritual, whatever level you're going to get to in life, there's another level where you are completely a beginner. You know nothing about what you're talking about. You're above your pay grade. You're way over depth. And even what we're doing now with these cameras that we're doing, with these podcasts, with all this tech that we're doing, there was a time, the journey, Jonas, where we knew nothing.
I know. but I think that's the great insight, to be fearless, to actually try new things, because I have a lot of friends who is really, really scared to get out of a comfort zone, to do a new sport because of afraid of failure.
Yeah.
But when I talk to them, but you haven't learned it yet. So for me, it's natural, because I know how much I grow. And, when you are a beginner, you have a much higher develop on your improvement, instead of what you have been doing for so long. You will not see exceeding of your knowledge and the technique and so on. So the story about the black belt, somebody else told you, but I totally understand, because in my wisdom is like a black belt is only a white belt who never stopped training and learning. So for me, it has been that on my martial arts journey. It's like, I got a black belt, but it's because I didn't stop or don't stop learning or training. That's the difference between other color belts. Like, you stop learning.
Yeah. You even see it outside of martial arts, when some actors, for example, once they get given accolades, an Oscar, whatever it is, steadily their work declines. Some are the exception to the rule. I understand that, but I'm just saying sometimes when you give somebody that honorary position, they get stagnant. They think they've made it and there's no room. No, there's always another level. There's always another level that you need to go to. Even when you on your last breath, what will you say with your last breath? What will you think with your last thought? What would you write in your last hours? You know, these are deep things that if you had control of, yeah, you should be starting to think about it, because up until you leave the physical plane, you can still add value. You can still contribute to society. As long as society is designed in such a way and operates in such a way that they value your contribution. So I remember working with people that older people that have dementia, early onset dementia, and people talking about, they're upset. It's a very heart-wrenching condition to watch somebody go through. It is completely heartbreaking. But even in the person who's going through that dementia and losing the ability to recall, there are stages where they can have some autonomy. I remember helping a patient just comb his hair. I said, look, for his recovery, let's just focus on something that he can do. And we managed to help him comb his hair from left to right. The twinkle came back in his eye. So there are things that we can do to remain young, youthful in our heart. I like the way you talk about reframing the words so that somebody can learn and grow. Because sometimes we get fixated on what the word means. You know, like failure. Feel a failure. The word failure means I am dumb. It means I am stupid. It means my mum and dad were right. I am stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. It's just a word. Reframing it, as you said, you know, is a very, very powerful tool. And these younger generations, I like to help them using gaming type. We call it gamification. You know, where if you treat life as a game, and as you said, something you don't know yet, it's a level you haven't conquered yet. There's a garden you have to beat before you move on to the next level. There's a spaceship you must blow up, and you cannot blow it up with that missile. You need to have this missile. To get that missile, you need to do this. There's so much ways that we can repackage, reframe people who are stuck and can't get over the fear, you know, which is only false evidence appearing real, right? It's just fear. It doesn't really exist. You're just measuring something based upon your perceived perception of what you can achieve yourself. And we shouldn't do that on other people. We shouldn't put our own abilities, how we view our own abilities on other people. Or you wouldn't get people like Sir Captain Tom Moore.
Yeah, I was thinking about Tom Moore about that. Like you said, he had an expression the next day, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, I think it's the same because, like during my 30 years of martial arts, when I, as a 15-year-old kid, met my first teacher and trainer and mentor and friend, for that, it was like he had like three sentences to me that who been affected all my life. So you're talking about gamification, and he said, Jonas, every year you should feel one new thing, you should do one new thing, you should think one new thing. That's 3 things I should do every year. And then we were talking about, oh, it sounds like gaming. Yeah, you're on level 15 now, Jonas. So today I'm on level 46. And you know, my game is in infinity game.
Sorry, we lost you there.
Level up every year. If I continue to do.
We lost you there, Jonas. Can you say that one more time? I'm not too sure. We've lost Jonas there through a bad connection. These things happen when we're recording. So all I can say is Jonas, again, he's dropped his bombs out there. You know, the wisdom from this guy is amazing. One more time, we want to give Captain Sir Tom Moore
Okay, guys, everybody ready?
Atomic mic drop.
Rest in peace. You did your thing. We're so happy that we as a society, as a people, had the chance to benefit and see the great deeds that you did in your lifetime. Rest in paradise.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out micdropclub.com and get the show notes and useful links. Subscribe to the podcast. Don't just live life, make life boom.